All right, Niti Yagali Du, Hunter Brown, Shiizi Kailan, Dene Aina, Eshlan Shida, Katnu Shugu Shikoya Kailan Don. How is it with you? Hunter Brown, Dene Aina, enrolled member of the Knighty tribe, and your chair for the evening. The time now is 7:05 p.m. We do not yet have a quorum present, but in order to keep things rolling along, we are going to proceed as though we have called this meeting to order. We will not be voting on any business until we get a quorum established. That being said, thank you for joining us tonight. Please note that as usual, all attendees are muted during the meeting, but individuals will be taken off mute when recognized to speak. Just raise your hand to be recognized. If you have an interrupting motion, such as a point of order or request for information, please use the speed up button on your Zoom reactions, which is the blue circle with the two white greater than symbols in it. But once you come off mute, just state your motion. You don't need to go into why you're making the motion. That'll occur after your motion is recognized. I'll also note that while you can find my name in the list of participants, I will not be checking the chat. So if you try to chat at me during the meeting, that will not be an effective way to reach me. The best thing you can do is to reach out to asterisk support, Nathan Antonio, if you need something, or as I said, raise your hand or use the greater than symbols. All right. Up next, we have our land acknowledgement. To get us started, I'd like to welcome KCDCC Rep. Julie Conklin, who offered to do our land acknowledgement for us. Thank you, Julie.
Sure, thank you. So, on behalf of the 46th District Democrats, we acknowledge the land on which we stand today as the traditional home of the Coast Salish and Duwamish tribes, and the traditional home of all tribes and bands within the Suquamish, Tulalip, Snoqualmie, and Muckleshoot nations. Since time immemorial, they have hunted, fished, gathered, and taken care of these lands. We recognize their invaluable contributions to our state, history, economy, and culture. We respect their sovereignty, their right to self-determination, and honor their sacred spiritual connection with the land and water. We will strive to be honest about our past mistakes and trespasses and bring about a future that includes their people, stories, and voices to form a more just and equitable society.
All right, thank you so much, Julie. And as a reminder, the 46th District Dems is a contributor to Real Rent Duwamish, which calls upon people who live and work in Seattle to make rent payments to the Duwamish tribe. Though our city is named for their leader, Chief Seattle, and our city continues to thrive, the tribe has yet to be justly compensated for their land, resources, and livelihood. But you can do something today to stand in solidarity with First Peoples of this land by paying real rent. All funds go directly to Duwamish Tribal Services to support the revival of the Duwamish culture and the vitality of the Duwamish tribe. You can join that grassroots movement today, just like the 46th District Dems did, by going to www.realrentduwamish.org. All right. Normally we'd get to the consent agenda, but we're going to go right into our meeting norms and practices as we continue to await more people joining us so we may establish quorum. Mr. Antonio, are you prepared for that at this moment?
I am.
Thank you, sir. The floor is yours.
All right. I'm going to run through meeting norms and voting practices briefly here. But first of all, hello, everyone. My name is Nathan Antonio. I'm the chair of the Effective Meetings Committee and your first point of contact if you need support at any point during this meeting. So you can find me in the participant list or look me up in chat by searching my name or the word support. As you see it here on the slides is how my username appears, *support/PCO-Nathan Antonio. Other volunteers are chatable, but they're not supposed to reach out to you except under very specific circumstances. In fact, if you reach out to them without instruction, they will just tell you to talk to me. So please check with me if you need anything before bothering anybody else. All right, this is a quick reminder that we have community agreements embedded in the code of conduct for this organization, and those state that we will treat each other with dignity and respect, that we remember that everyone here is a volunteer, I don't know about you, but when I know I'm talking to a volunteer, I'm usually a little nicer. Step up and step back simply means that if you realize that you're kind of taking up a lot of time talking, taking up space in the meeting, think about stepping back to the extent that is appropriate. Sometimes if you over participate, it will suppress other people's feeling like they can participate freely. Please be understanding of technical issues, family in the background, things of that nature. Everybody's in a different situation here, so please just show some tolerance. Together, we share responsibility for staying on time at this meeting, so that's just a reminder that every motion, everything you try to do in this meeting will add time to our agenda, which, with any luck, will end at 9 p.m. tonight. Respect the meeting rules, wait to be recognized, and stay on topic. So we'll talk about how to be recognized in a little bit. And then lastly, by way of reminder, if you don't know something, please feel free to ask me in the chat. Right, and this is another reminder that we use Robert's Rules of Order in these meetings. You don't need to know everything about how to operate Robert's Rules. The most important thing is that you raise your hand to be recognized, and then once recognized, go ahead and state your business. We will help you make sure that you are in order. All right, so speaking of being recognized, you have to raise your hand to be recognized. So in case you don't remember or you need a refresher to raise your hand in the meeting, you want to look towards the bottom of the Zoom window. And as you hover your cursor over the bottom, this black bar will show up with a bunch of white icons in it. You should see an icon in there that just says raise hand. It looks like a little hand. If you don't see it right away, click on the More button. And then inside of the submenu that pops out there, you should see a raise hand button. Feel free to go ahead and click on that just to make sure it works for you. Once your hand is raised, the chair will call on folks in order to be recognized. And once the chair has recognized you, you will be prompted to unmute. So you need to watch your screen for a prompt that says unmute, because we have to let you unmute yourself. If you're on the phone, it's a very similar process. You just look at the bottom of your Zoom app, and there you'll see a button that says React. And within that menu, there's an option to raise your hand. All right, this is just a quick reminder that if you will be unable to join this meeting or any future meeting on the Zoom app on your computer or on your phone, and instead will have to dial a number, an old-fashioned phone number, to just listen to the meeting, let us know in advance so that we can arrange some way for you to vote, because the only way to vote normally at these meetings is to be on the app, either on your computer or on your phone. All right, so speaking of voting, we do two kinds of voting at meetings. The first is called reaction voting, which is sort of the equivalent of saying yay or nay in a big room of people, if this were a live in-person meeting. So in order to participate in a reaction vote, it's very similar to raising your hand. You're going to look towards the bottom of your Zoom window, hover your cursor over the bottom to make that black bar show up with the white icons. And this time you're going to look for a react button. It looks like a heart. It has the word react on it. If you don't see it right there in that bottom bar, click the More button, and you should see a react icon in there. But when you do click on it, it'll show you a bunch of sub options. And the ones that you're going to be looking for in order to vote are a green check for yes or the red X for no. And as long as we're looking at these options, I'll just remind you all of something Hunter said. If you believe you have an interrupting motion per Robert's rules, use the blue forward arrow circle thingy, and that will alert the chair that you may have an interrupting motion, so they will recognize you ahead of others. All right, and then if you're on the phone, to get to those same options, just like raising your hand, you click on the React button, and all your options are right there. Go ahead and pick the green check or the red X if you want to practice, if you need inspiration. React to the question, do you like mint ice cream? This is just practicing. All right, and then the other type of voting we do at this in this organization is balloted votes. Balloted votes are electronic votes where we send you a link to a Google form to fill out, where you'll put in your information as well as your vote, and then that processes everything on our back end here, and we tally up the results. So in order to access electronic ballots, as well as to get lots of different, very important pieces of information in this meeting, you need to have the chat open. So please go ahead and open up the chat now and leave it open throughout the meeting. Pay attention there, because if there's anything going on, like there's a problem with your vote, or we just need to get in touch with you in general to figure something out, that's how we're going to reach out to you. So to open up the chat, go to the bottom bar, just like we did in these other two examples, and you should see a chat button in there. It looks like a speech bubble. Again, if you don't see it right away, click on the More button, and then within those additional options, you should see a chat option right there. So clicking on that will open the chat window. Again, just leave it open throughout the meeting and try to pay attention to it in case important stuff is going on in there. When we are doing electronic ballot votes, though, we will send a link to that vote in the meeting chat. So you'll click on it there, and then that will take you to another form that I'll show you an example of in a moment. But just really quickly, for anyone who's on the phone app, to get to the chat, just like all these other examples, just look towards the bottom of your app interface. You'll see a chat button right there, and it'll pop up a window with all your chats in it. In the scenario where we put out a link to an electronic ballot to fill out, this is more or less what it'll look like on the right here. You'll be asked to enter your email address, your first name, and your last name as we have it in your registration. I'll say more about that in a moment. Then you'll be asked to enter the voting code that you were sent last night between 11:15 and 11:30, probably. Voting codes are different every meeting, so you need to have the most recent email with your voting code. If you don't have it, if you can't find it, just send me a chat when I'm done here, and I'll pull it up for you. Also very important, the ballot is going to ask you to attest that you are the person that you say you are. For folks who are new or maybe just don't remember, we do not allow proxy voting in this organization, nor do we allow asynchronous voting. So what that means is you have to be present in the meeting to vote. Only you can vote for yourself. No one can vote on your behalf, nor may you vote on behalf of anyone else. All right. And that concludes my spiel. So again, if anyone has questions or needs help, please just let me know in the chat at any point here, and I'll help you out. And I am pleased to report, Mr. Chair, that we have just reached quorum with 41 people checked in, likely to be a few more checked in as we go on here.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Mr. Antonio. Really appreciate you walking us through that. As Mr. Antonio said, a quorum is present, so I am now hereby calling this meeting to order at 7:19 p.m. The first thing we'll be voting upon is our agenda. There are a couple of changes that were made to the agenda after it went out that I want to alert people to. The first is that I moved the e-board election, which is a PCO only vote, into the consent agenda. The reason being is we only had one person apply for that position, and since it was uncontested, I threw it in there just to save us time. That being said, if somebody wishes to pull it for any reason or any other item underneath the consent agenda, you may simply raise your hand and we will pull that item from the consent agenda and we will vote on it later on down in the agenda. The other item that is new is I added a additional resolution, and this is because over the weekend, the final report from the Washington State Democratic Party with the convention resolutions came out. And one of our resolutions was had a do not pass recommendation. And because of that, I wanted to provide an alternate path for that resolution to be passed by the state party if it does not pass at the convention. And that is the resolution condemning Representative Marie Gouzenkamp Perez's vote on Stopping Indoctrination and Protecting Kids Act. So because that is currently as a do not pass, I wanted to provide this body the opportunity to decide whether or not we wanted to continue to send that forward via another vehicle or option. So, and then the third thing is I did fix the time for which we would adjourn today. So I want to make people aware of that. So we would adjourn promptly at 9 p.m. Unless someone motions to extend the meeting. So that is a new change. I just want to make sure everyone's aware of that. I'm trying to be mindful of everybody's time and also respect the make sure that people are aware of their rights as members of this body to extend the meeting if they so choose to. That being said, does anybody wish to make any changes to our consent agenda? Our consent agenda, if passed, would approve our May 18th regular membership meeting minutes. It would also approve today's agenda, which includes the PCO appointments of Emily Pitcher, Jay Johnson, Lori Lippold, and Jeremy Young, as well as the e-board election for the position of KCDCC alternate. Guinevere Dinsmore submitted their application for that. I'm going to go ahead and just clear reactions real quick, just to make sure that if anybody raises their hand, I don't miss it. So are there any objections to passing today's consent agenda, which includes those PCO appointments I listed, today's agenda, the May 18th regular membership meeting minutes, as well as would be confirming Guinevere Dinsmore for the position of KCDCC alternate on our executive board? Are there any objections? Any objections? All right, hearing none, we have approved our consent agenda. So congratulations and thank you to Emily Pitcher, Jay Johnson, Lori Lippold, and Jeremy Young, who stepped up to be PCOs, and Guinevere Dinsmore, who will be joining our executive board. Tara Gallagher, you have a hand up.
Mr. Chair, I
Yes.
rise to a question of privilege affecting the assembly. We cannot fully participate in this meeting until we have wished our wonderful chair, Hunter Brown, a happy birthday.
Happy
I
birthday.
invite members to unmute and sing aloud and sing to him. Happy
Happy
birthday
birthday
to you.
Happy birthday to
you. Happy
Happy
birthday, dear
Hunter.
Hunter.
Happy
Happy birthday to you. Woo.
Thank you so much. Really
There's more,
appreciate
there's
you
more.
all.
Hold on. Thank you, Hunter. Thank you very much. Your son is very happy for you. And I want to share real fast. We appreciate everything you do, Hunter. I know today's been a long day for you on your birthday, and especially to be in this meeting now until no later than 9 p.m. I want to share something though that if I can share that we put together for you here. And is it showing?
Yes.
You see a happy birthday?
Yes.
Yeah. And you can look at it closer later. Some messages to you from eBoard members. We're going to put the link in the chat, everybody. If you want to add your own happy birthday message to Hunter, please do so. Anybody can throw a message in there. He loves cats, by the way. And anything else, he loves, foxes and hoagies too. So anything you want to throw in there, just happy birthday and show appreciation. Again, I'll put that link in the chat for you. So happy birthday, Hunter.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Tara, and everyone else who sang, whether you were unmuted or not. Really appreciate you all. That was very unexpected. All right. So up next on our agenda, we do have a contested PCO appointment. I do want to be really clear. I said this last month, and I sincerely apologize to Richard Ellison I accidentally omitted his name from the consent agenda last month when he applied to be a PCO by the deadline to be noticed. And I had a blank spot in there and I forgot to fill in his name before the call to meeting went out, and a couple days passed before I noticed. So in that time, we have since had someone else also apply for the appointment, and that is why it is a contested PCO appointment. So I do apologize for that error on my part. But we will now be considering Richard Ellison and Elizabeth Neal. Richard will have the opportunity to speak first. We're going to give both applicants a minute to introduce themselves. So that way we can then vote on that PCO appointment, and that would be a PCO only vote, just so people are aware. So there is a ballot that is specifically for PCOs. Richard, are you with us? Let's see. I'd heard that he might be traveling.
He is, sorry, just taking me a moment here.
Can you hear me?
Oh, yep, there you are, sir. We can hear you.
Uh, yes, I am walking.
Oh, and you got muted again. I'm going to ask you to unmute again. See, Richard, if you can hear me, you got muted again. He might be in a bad area. I'd heard that he was traveling. And it looks like he's disappeared and lost signal. Let's give him a minute to come back. In the meantime, we can hear from Elizabeth Neal. Elizabeth, you have the floor.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your time. I am Liza, and I'm running to be a PCO because I believe that democracy isn't something we watch, it's something that we build together. I bring energy, organization, and a deep belief in democratic values, opportunity, fairness, inclusion, and collective action. At a time when division, misinformation, and cynicism are pulling people apart, Democrats have a responsibility to organize, engage, and bring people into the process. I believe informed, thoughtful engagement creates stronger communities and better outcomes for everyone. I want to help make our party stronger at the neighborhood level by ensuring every voice is heard, every voter feels welcome, and every community member knows they belong. My career has been dedicated to helping people find opportunity, overcome barriers, and create better futures, whether through workforce development, coaching, or community service. I've seen that real change happens when people feel empowered to participate. I would be honored to serve as your PCO for 462274 and help engage our compassionate community that our democracy depends on. Thank you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Richard, I see you're back.
Yes. Again, I'm just kind of walking with my cell phone, so I must say the dead zone. And when I try to switch to my prepared speech, it just drops everything off. And anyway, my name is Richard Ellison. I'm a retired teacher, biologist. I taught at community colleges in Seattle as an adjunct. I've been an active speaker in front of public hearings, but city and state level, online. I have been a long life Democrat and have lived in our community here for over 20 years, in Seattle for over 40 years. I'm interested in supporting democracy and fighting the Trump administration tooth and nail, and supporting the candidates that are going to stand up for us in this changing environment, both politically and also at an earth level. That in the sense that we need to support progressive and green candidates. It's important for us to build as much housing as we can, but to try to do it in an environmentally sensitive and sound way that allows Seattle to be integrated into the natural environment rather than becoming an ecological dead zone. I support strong education, funding for free for education for their colleges and all levels of education, preschool. I support healthcare for all.
And
I wish
Mr.
Bernie
Ellison,
had
I
gotten elected
apologize, but
president.
that is time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right. If we could get a ballot, please posted in the chat. And just a reminder, this is a PCO only vote. So just PCOs for this one. I apologize. I was running the timer on my phone, which you guys could not see, so that may have made things difficult. All right.
Point of personal privilege?
Yes, Kathy.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure the right thing to say. The form is not clicking for me. Is it working for everyone else?
It did work for me. Contested PCO appointment precinct 2274.
Huh. I see other people shaking their head, and I'm sorry if I interrupted inappropriately.
I know Gary had said, I think shook his head no, that it wasn't working. I wonder if there was like maybe a delay or, oh, it's working for you, Gary. Okay. Looks like it got reposted. Just in case. So again, it's a PCO only vote. If you don't have an asterisk and PCO next to your name, you are not eligible to vote. So please refrain from doing so to just make it easier for our tally folks to tally up ballots. But we'll give everybody a few minutes to go ahead and get their ballot queued up, locate their voting code. It looks like I see some PCOs are already kicking back, relaxing. Got a lot of practice at our last meeting. You see one person in the waiting room who may be a PCO. And I just posted the, yep. So Judy, looks like you're just joining us. You are a PCO. In the chat, I posted a link to the ballot for the contested PCO appointment for precinct 2274. And I know that we do have a full agenda tonight. Oh, Judy, you have your hand up.
I just want you to know that mine is not contested. I've already received, nobody
no.
ran against me.
Yes, no, I'm sorry. So tonight we had two people apply for an appointment for PCO for the remaining term, which ends on December 1st.
All right.
So if you click the link in the chat, you'll get, as a PCO, only PCOs can appoint. So
I see.
we have
Sorry.
one precinct where we had two applicants.
Okay.
I saw you in the waiting room and I was like, I was pretty sure that you were a PCO, but couldn't remember off the top of my head. Mark.
Can't hear you, Mark.
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
There don't appear to be new votes coming in. If you'd like me to close the ballot, I can report the results.
Is Judy did just join late? Is it close or? I just want to add, like, is Judy, because Judy did just join as a PCO. Would her vote make a difference either way? I don't want to take away her ability to.
It is a close vote. Yes.
Okay. Okay, so let me just ask, is there anybody who still needs more time to vote? And if so, please raise your hand.
Not gonna vote.
And as a reminder, to raise your hand, you might need to click on the reactions. If it's not showing up under reactions, you might have to click on the more or the three dots button in order to bring up reactions. Does anyone need more time to vote? Does anyone need more time to vote? All right, I'm not seeing any hands, so I would say that it's safe to go ahead and close that ballot, Mark. Thank you.
I'm gonna shut my door.
Mr. Chair, we have, I don't know that I've seen this before. We have a tie vote on this PCO appointment.
Okay.
You can see in the chat.
Okay. I don't know. I am not a PCO because I actually moved right during filing week 2 years ago. So I cannot break this vote, or I cannot break the tie. And my precinct is also occupied, which is why I did not go for an appointment myself. So I believe that we will have to wait and consider at the next meeting. But I would ask my parliamentarian if she agrees with that.
We don't actually have any rules covering it. We also, if both candidates agreed, could just randomize, i.e. flip a coin.
Flip a coin. Okay. Let's ask the candidates if they would like to go to a coin toss. Let's see, let me find. Richard?
Yes, my preference would be to delay it to the next meeting.
Okay. How about you, Elizabeth?
If they both don't go with the flip, you really shouldn't do it.
Okay, then we don't do it. Okay, all right. So we'll go to the next meeting since so we'll go to the next meeting. Thank you, Richard and Elizabeth, for both running for the appointment. Appreciate you both. And we'll consider that appointment at our next meeting. Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just would like to thank both candidates for putting their hat in the ring for PCO. And I want to let folks know this is only for the PCO appointment that runs out in December. And anybody can volunteer to support our Get Out the Vote work. You don't have to be a PCO, and we appreciate everybody that comes around to be part of the effort. So thanks to both Richard and Elizabeth, or Liza, excuse me.
Thank you. Well said, PCO Chair Mark Auerbach. Really appreciate all the work you put in, as well as Doug and the rest of the PCO committee. Up next, endorsements. So we have a couple of ballot initiatives. Tara, would you like to go over our rules on endorsements of ballot initiatives?
For ballot initiatives, it's pretty simple. There will be a written ballot in a electronic ballot form. The choices will be: we endorse a position of yes, we endorse a position of no, or we take no position. That's to make it clear that you mean you don't have a preference, you don't want us to take a position. It's essentially the same as abstain or no endorsement. And as with everything else, we need a vote of 60% for one position or another for that position to be endorsed. I think that really pretty much covers everything. Any current member can vote.
All right, I think that does cover it. Any questions? Any questions? Any questions? All right, so if I understand it, all three that we're voting on this evening are Brian Haywood initiatives. He's working with Tim Eyman and the Republicans. So the first one under consideration is IL 26-001, Washington Parental Right to Review Education Materials, Receive Notifications, and Opt Out of Sexual Health Education Initiative. Would anyone like to speak towards us taking a yes, no, or no recommendation position on this? All right. Are we okay to go directly to a ballot on this then? Okay, let's go ahead and post a ballot or a link to the ballot in the chat. All right, it is in there. So don't forget your voting code. All right, give everybody a little bit longer, although I know you're well practiced after our last meeting, which was quite a marathon. Thank you to everybody who attended. Congratulations to those that were able to stay for the entire thing. I think we ended just after 11 p.m., if memory serves me correctly. Mr. Antonio.
Yes, this is a request for information, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Would you mind just very clearly stating what the yes, no, or no endorsement options will indicate for a ballot measure? It's a little different than candidate endorsements, so I think it would just be good.
So this will be showing up on voters' ballots. And so the voters will have the opportunity to pass these ballots and have them made into law. So if you vote yes, you're asking for the law to be changed based on the language of the ballot. If you vote no, you do not wish for any changes to the law to be made. And taking no position means that we're indifferent on whether or not it changes. Is that, you have your hand up again, Mr. Antonio?
Yeah, perhaps I misunderstood, so apologies if this is only adding to the confusion. It
Mhm.
was my understanding that I defer to the parliamentarian.
All right, Tara.
Okay, the language is different on the ballots than expected, but it is the same thing. If you vote yes, you are saying we endorse a position of yes, and people should vote yes on this. If you vote no, it says we endorse a position of no, people should vote no on this. And no endorsement means you don't care, you don't want us to take a position. It's, but it does count against the 60% that's needed. Perhaps that clarifies?
That was helpful to me, at least. So yes is saying that the organization should take a position, telling people that we think everyone should support this ballot measure. No would be the organization taking a position to say, no, no one should support this ballot measure. And no endorsement would mean the organization takes absolutely no position on the ballot measure.
That's
That
right.
is correct.
Thank you.
Yes, and so if we take no position, we probably would not even show it on our slate cards. Judy.
I'm feeling really dumb here, but where do I go to vote?
So a link is posted in the chat. It has been posted by PCO Mark Auerbach.
Oh, here it is. Okay, sorry.
Yeah,
I just
no
missed
problem. Heather Heinickel.
Hey, sorry, I'm having bandwidth issues. I'm at my kids' gymnastics. I was bumped out and back in. If Mark wouldn't mind reposting the ballot, I'd appreciate it. Thank you.
Sure, I got it, Mark. There we go. Since I know Mark is probably up to his eyeballs in tally right now. No? Oh, okay. Mark? Oh, you're on mute, sir.
Mr. Chair, we have a very large margin, and I think most of our participants have had an opportunity to vote.
Okay.
And
how many ballots have been completed?
we have 34 ballots counted.
Okay.
And actually an additional 3 with no position that don't reflect in that count.
Okay. No position would still count against the total for the percentage. So I just want to make sure if we're gonna close it
I'm
early
sorry.
mathematically.
It's just the totals on my sheet show up a certain way, but we have 39, 40. Actually, we do have an issue with the way this is calculating. Nathan, maybe you can take a look. I don't think it's going to be a problem for us on this vote, but
yeah, the auto calculation is incorrect. However, the numbers speak for themselves. So
yeah,
I can do the percentage math here in a moment.
Okay.
Let me check something else really quickly, though.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I know our membership fairly well. I feel very confident in how this vote will turn out. I just want to make sure that we're reporting accurately, and that there's no chance of later on someone pointing out like, hey, this math was wrong and we just needed one more vote to go a certain way or something. And
we are up to 41 votes cast.
all right.
Nathan is he's doing the math, making sure we have the math so we can present the percentages correctly, and when you're ready, Mr. Chair, and Nathan is done, we can put this in the chat.
Does anybody need more time to cast a ballot? Anyone need more time? Anyone need more time? All right, I'd say we can go ahead and close it.
Unfortunately, Mr. Chair, something about the math here is not mathing, and I would like to revisit this after the meeting when I can kind of dig into the raw results. Something about the summary page is just not making any sense. So,
Okay. Do we have affirmative yeses, nos, and no positions?
yeah, it would appear that the results are overwhelmingly that the organization take a no position.
Okay.
By a margin of by a factor of 10, in fact,
Okay.
but the numbers are just they're wonky, so I couldn't give an exact percentage. But if just with a little time after the meeting, I can get into this and figure out exactly what's going on here.
Okay. I see that we have 47 voting members in the body. If we had 29 no's, then that is over 60%. So as long as we have over 29 no's.
There's well over that.
Okay. Do we have a
Mr. Chair,
number
would you
just
like
so...
me to place the...
Yeah, could you just let us know the yeses and nos? Even if there's no percentage, we can do that afterwards. There we go. Okay, perfect. Overwhelmingly. Excellent. Thank you, everybody. Just want to make sure we're dotting our I's and crossing our T's there before we move on. So up next, we do have another Haywood initiative, IL 26-638. Washington Sex Verification Requirements for Female School Sports Initiative. So, does anyone wish to speak for us to recommend that voters vote yes, no, yes or no on this, or for us to not take any action on this? Going once, going twice, 3 times. All right. Let's go ahead and put the link to the ballot in the chat. Thank you, Mr. Auerbach. The link is live. All right, while we give people a another minute or two to get their ballot in order to keep things moving along, I do want to report that the delegation will be meeting tomorrow night to just vote on making a change to the state convention's platform, or sorry, resolutions committee report. As I said earlier, we are going to be considering the resolution on condemning the vote of Marie Guzenkamp Perez. They recommended a do not pass, so the delegation is going to meet tomorrow to consider whether or not we want to ask them to revise their position. But I believe that's how it's stated in the rules, but I believe what that means is there will just be a floor vote on that resolution. So we'll be meeting to go over that. Also wanted to let you know, I couldn't get an exact number on the number of platform amendments that were made. I just was told that statewide, it was over 800 amendments were submitted across 49 LDs. So on average, I think that's 16 amendments per LD. Our LD submitted 115 amendments. So we submitted about an eighth of the amendments to the state party platform. 83 of those passed with a recommendation. Thank you, Tara Gallagher, who went in and did the deep dive and dug into that. I got my numbers from her. So really appreciate that she did that. I do see a hand up from Richard Ellison. Richard?
Hello, yeah, I can't seem to vote. I hit the chat button and it says the chat has been muted or closed. Group chat is muted or closed. So I'm not sure. It says, yeah, it's just something there. The host
Let's
has
see.
disabled group chat. That's what it says. Oh, that would be great. Let me try that.
Interesting. So it might be trying to do. I mean, I do see the chat is active right now. I don't know if it has to do with your connection. It looks like you're frozen on me right now. I did repost it in the link, or repost the link. But you do not vote in the chat, just so you know. If that was what you're saying, you're breaking up a little bit. But there is a link to a Google form in the chat, and you click on that link in order to cast your ballot. Does that make sense? Are you still with us? Okay, I think Richard might be frozen. He's vanished and lost connection. Let's see. How are we doing tally? Let me just see. Do we have another not close one at all?
Yeah, and I think I can report in a moment here.
Okay.
Anybody still wishes to vote and hasn't, they can let us know.
Does anybody need more time? Anyone need more time to vote? Anyone need more time to vote? Right, I'm not seeing anyone. If you say it's not close, I think with the people in the room, it's 46. We just need 28 people saying yes, no, or take no position for us to have it, or sorry, yes or no to take in a position.
Well beyond that, I'll paste the results for you. We have 0 yes votes, 38 no votes, and 0 votes for no endorsement.
All right. So we are recommending that voters vote no against that ballot initiative. Up next, I did not post a link to the millionaire tax, the repeal of the millionaire tax ballot initiative. When I last looked, there were a little over a half dozen that they were trying to get through. I don't know what the official one is going to be, but we could take a vote now. To recommend a yes, we want voters to repeal it, or no, we don't want voters to repeal it, regardless of what the number is. I believe that would be in order. Is there anybody that wishes to speak on a position? Kathy Sakahara, you have your hand up.
I'm wondering if the chair thinks it would be in order that we also take a position of decline to sign. So not only are we asking people to vote against it, but specifically saying, don't sign this. I'm not quite making a motion because there's so little time before they have to turn in the signatures. It may not be effective. I'm throwing it out there as an option, I guess, if anyone else thinks that's a good idea, but like I said, it's not a formal motion.
Okay. It would need to be a formal motion, but we have done decline to sign in the past, just so people are aware. And we could do both. So currently, when I last looked, it was not going to be showing up on the ballot, but it most likely will show up in some form. By virtue of the fact that they got the other two through with, I believe, yeah. Okay. So since it is on the agenda, we would be voting on it to choose whether or not we want to recommend that voters repeal this. So it's going to be a little bit confusing. It would be a repeal of the millionaire's tax. Does anyone want to vote or want to take a speaking position to say yes, repeal the tax, or no, don't repeal the tax? Would anybody like to speak towards either of those positions? Do we have a ballot ready to go on this? Okay, and how is the ballot,
Yes.
just to be clear, how is the ballot framed? Because I want to make sure that we don't have confusion later on. Is it does it say to repeal as well, just so there's no confusion?
The endorsement, it's the endorsement of the repeal.
Okay.
So, yeah, I won't interpret it.
Okay.
Stick to.
So, we can go ahead and post a link to that ballot in the chat. A yes would be for us to tell voters, yes, repeal the millionaire's tax that passed this last session. A no would be to say, no, we do not want to repeal the millionaire's tax. We want to tax millionaires. Is that clear for everybody? Okay. The double negatives always can be confusing. So
Chair Brown, can you repeat how the yes no's affect us again? No means
could you please say that again?
no. Can you repeat what no means and what yes would mean?
Yes means that you wish to repeal the millionaire's tax that passed the session. So you do not want to tax millionaires. So yes means no taxes on millionaires. No means we do not wish to repeal. No means tax the millionaires. Is that clear? So once again, it is a repeal of the millionaire tax. So yes, repeal it. No taxes. No, leave the tax alone. We want to tax millionaires. So I feel like the more I say it, the more double negatives. It could be confusing. Apologies. Does anyone need more time to vote on this one? Does anybody need more time? Does anyone need more time? All right, I'd say we can go ahead and close the ballot whenever you are ready to report results, Mr. Auerbach.
And Mr. Chair, I just need 1 minute to cure a ballot here.
All
And we'll
right.
be on our way. Okay. And results are in the chat. We have 38 no votes, 0 yes votes, and 0 votes for no endorsement.
All right, thank you, sir. Up next, we have our finance report. Lisa Levy.
Yeah, can you put it up on the screen, our little snapshot?
Sure.
We have a little new format to make it easier for people to see our finances at a glance. Um,
Okay. Can everybody see that?
Oh, there it is. Yeah. So not much has happened yet in our fiscal year, but we did have some expenses in events and fundraising that include our rental for the picnic at the Northgate Center in July. So that's why that is a little bit high right now. It includes our event we did in Lake City as well. We have about almost 17,000 in the bank. So for the moment, we're in good shape, and I think we'll be able to do a good printing for both of the voting time periods. So excited about that. Any questions? Let me know.
All right. Any questions for our treasurer, Lisa Levy? Any questions? Any questions? All right. Thank you so much, Lisa. Really appreciate your work on that and putting together that breakdown for us. All right. So up next, resolutions. As I stated earlier, the first one we'll consider is, well, to be clear, all of these were brought forward by the delegation. We had, I think, about 10 different topics of resolutions to choose from. We had 7 that were prepared and ready. Actually, 8 that were prepared and ready. One became moot when it was no longer actionable. And we brought forward the remaining 5 here to this body because if the 46 passes it, we can then send it to the state committee for them to consider at their September meeting. So it would be the Washington State Democratic Central Committee that would then vote to take a position on it versus the Washington State Democrats, where that occurs at the convention every 2 years. So slight difference between those bodies, more than slight. But in any event, as I stated earlier, the resolution condemning Marie Gouzenkamp Perez's vote on the Stopping Indoctrination and Protecting Kids Act. That did not make it through the committee with a due pass. So I wanted to I put that on here so our body could decide whether or not we wanted to take it to the Washington State Democratic Central Committee for them to consider passing it in September in the event that it does not pass at the convention. So I'm going to just really quickly, since this one was not sent out with the notice. It does not want to let me open it, but I'm going to try to read it really small on the screen. Whereas the rights of transgender people are under a unique and threatening assault at all levels of government across this nation, but especially by the federal government, and whereas the Stopping Indoctrination and Protecting Kids Act amounts to an erasure of transgender peoples from spheres of society by preventing educators from even acknowledging the existence of transgender people, and whereas preventing transgender people from participating in a society by barring them from, among other things, using their preferred pronouns or using the bathroom that aligns with their identity, and criminalizing those practices amounts to cultural and literal genocide. And whereas the government of the United States and several states are actively engaged in this genocide, and whereas Marie Gouzenkamp Perez's vote in support of the Stopping the Indoctrination and Protecting Kids Act is a vote in support of this genocide and makes her an active participant in it. Therefore, be it resolved that the 46th District Democrats condemn in the strongest possible terms the Representative Marie Gouzenkamp Perez's vote on this bill and all such similar votes by her and any other Washington Democrat or indeed any politician, and therefore be it further resolved that the 46th District Democrats reaffirm our commitment to Democratic Party values such as care, compassion, equity, and liberty and justice for all people, regardless of sex, gender, sexual orientation, gender identity, race, religion, ethnicity, or national origin, but especially of those who are marginalized and targeted for erasure, such as transgender people. Kathy Sakahara, you have your hand up?
This is a point of information. I'm wondering if
Yes.
anyone knows if part of the reason that this didn't move forward is, with total respect to the author of this, that some of the language is very heavy, heavy-handed. I'm not exactly sure. Maybe stronger than some people would be comfortable with. Has anyone been involved in discussions with the committee that rejected this to know if that may be part of it?
As I heard, so I would invite if Layla is able to speak towards that, she can. My understanding from her was that some people said that it wasn't strong enough, that it should have included an act of censure in order to pass. But then ultimately, we also had people, as I understand it, that argued that we should never criticize a Democrat, that we just should not do it. And so some people, I believe, voted against it for that reason. But Layla, if she's available to speak, may have more info, but that was the rundown that I got.
Thanks, Hunter. That is correct. There were some who felt that this should have been a censure, and they actually quoted and said that since she has censured party members and other legislators, that should have been something that we could have done. But I think the main part of the reason it got rejected was condemning another Democrat who may have a contender.
Okay, thank you, Layla. Appreciate it. Is there any other discussion? Tara Gallagher?
Yeah, I know that Guinevere's not here right now. I'm wondering, unfortunately, this is the 24 platform, but I think it might strengthen a little to point out that this vote is completely in violation of the Democrats' platform, the state platform that was previously adopted, also the one coming up, which is sort of what, we should hold our electeds to. And if we're doing a version that might go up in September, we can amend it with an extra whereas if it directly references the platform. And if we're voting on it today, that would have to be the 24 platform. And I can quick womp up a amendment if we think there'd be interest in that.
I did see a nod from one of our other members on camera that would be interested in that. If you'd like to whip up a quick amendment. Gary Goldbaum.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Personally, although I am sympathetic to the intent behind the resolution, I find the language incredibly off-putting. Genocide is a term that I use with very careful consideration. This is not a true genocide. I'm also respectful of Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez's stated aims to truly represent the people in her district. I suspect she got a lot of feedback about the stance she should be taking in this regard. I'm not willing to criticize her because she took what she considered to be an important stand for her district. I think that, and this is not to say that we never criticize a Democrat, but it is to say that we need to be very select when we do so. So I am strongly opposed to moving this forward.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Bethany Stackhouse.
Turn the video on. Maybe. Sorry, my internet's having a day. I would like to, if it's appropriate, respond to some of Jeff's concerns.
So you do not want to, when engaging in debate, not address people by name. You can
That's
say the
fair.
gentleman from here, or the gentleman or woman who spoke before me, or someone who spoke
Mm.
previously, but never state names.
That is totally fair.
And talk to the content of passing, or the yeah, for or against the resolution in the matter.
I would speak for the resolution condemning the vote that our representative took, or the representative from across the mountains took. Specifically, I think that it is appropriate to ask of our members of our party that they take principled stands, even if it means their constituents aren't necessarily 100% behind them. That's what leadership is, and I think it is reasonable for us to ask of leadership on moral issues, and this really is one. When you say trans people cannot exist in public, when you say trans children must be outed to their parents, who, if they are not out to, let's be very clear, it's not safe for them to be out to, that is a moral stance. That is these children will be in danger if they are outed. And when we say there is a genocide going on against trans people, that is because there is. Like in Idaho, you can still, right now, there is a law on the books saying you will go to jail for 5 years if you pee in the wrong bathroom. That is removing the ability of trans people to exist in public, to exist. That is the definition of a genocide, and I think it is right for us to name that that is what is happening, and it is right for us to demand of our leadership, of our elected official, regardless of what their constituents want, it is right for us to demand that they articulate that is why they are voting for this, rather than appeasing the Christian nationalism that is absolutely seeking the elimination of queer people, starting with trans people. That is the goal. We all know that.
Thank you, Bethany. Judy Benich, or Bench.
I have difficulty with condemning, the word condemning. And I just think that if it were me writing this, I would start out with, we strongly disagree with the vote of Congresswoman Maria Perez, whatever, for the following reasons, and just list the reasons. And I completely understand. She takes a lot of positions I disagree with. And nonetheless, I feel I have to support her. I mean, she votes a lot of the time with the Democrats on what needs to be voted on. So if this could be softened up to say that we just disagree with her and give the reasons for it, that would make a lot more sense to me.
Okay, thank you, Judy. Tara, you have your hand up.
Yeah, actually, I'd like to speak, and then I would like to make a motion.
Okay.
The 46 has already passed a resolution condemning one of our elected officials, Senator Maria Cantwell, condemning, excuse me, one of the votes of Senator Cantwell. It is really our obligation to hold our officials accountable to the principles that we espouse in our platform. And this is really just the strongest way to do it is by resolution. And having said that, I am going to move to amend to add a further whereas, which I am going to drop in the
the chat.
The chat. Thank you.
No problem. And where would this whereas be placed?
I think it could probably be at the end of the whereases. Let me look. Yeah, I think it would be a final whereas.
Okay. So
So
you're
technically the the amendment would also include adding an end at the end of that one, yeah. Of the end of the current last whereas.
yeah, let's see. I'm gonna just ask because my screen disappeared. Is okay, so nobody's currently sharing their screen. I'm gonna go ahead and share mine just so people can see it. Okay. And so what you are proposing is we change this to a comma, put an and, a semicolon, and then add this whereas. Is this a, sorry, that was my timer going off. Okay. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, let me kind of format it a little.
Do they accept these colons like this?
Which colons, including the blanks?
Yeah. Oh, these are the planks. Okay, these are the planks. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, thank you. Okay. You're right. I can expand this. I can add the bullets back. There you go, like that.
Yeah.
Okay. So this has been motioned. Is there a second on?
Second.
Okay, it's been seconded by Kathy Sakahara. I was just going to ask Cody Zelensky. He had a hand up if
Sorry.
he wished to second. Okay, so what is currently on the floor is this amendment, and so it is appropriate to speak for or against this amendment at this time. We have had two speakers for or against the main motion as is. Tara, would you like to speak towards your amendment? I believe
Yeah,
you were
I also
speaking
would
towards
like
the
to,
main motion before. So I
yeah,
just
I
want
would
to be
actually
clear.
like, can I amend the amendment and change the language a little?
Uh, yeah, let's do that. It has been seconded, so technically we're not allowed to. I'll just ask if there are any objections once you've made that change.
Okay. That's it.
Okay, so because we can amend an amendment, we can't go deeper. Does anybody object to this amendment to the amendment? We will then consider the amendment after this. Does anybody object to the amendment to the amendment? Anyone object to the amendment to the amendment? Okay, so we would now be considering this amendment as highlighted in its entirety. Would anybody like to speak towards that amendment? And I'll allow Tara the first opportunity because she was the maker of the main motion. Tara, would you like to speak towards your amendment?
Yeah, I rather wish this had been in when it first went, because I think one of the main things is that, yeah, if we're going to put all this effort into creating a platform, we've really got to hold the electeds accountable, and, obviously they fudge it all the time, but this is just blatant and so harmful. So yes, it is well within our rights to condemn the vote.
Okay. All right. Would anybody like to speak for or against this amendment? to the resolution? Anyone wish to speak for or against the amendment? All right, we're going to go ahead and vote on this amendment. If you wish for this amendment to be added to the resolution, please indicate that desire with a green check mark. If you do not wish for the amendment to be made to the resolution that we will then consider later or right after this, indicate that desire with a red X. Is it Eon? Oh, your hand went away. Give everybody a moment to get their green checks and red X's. It looks like voting has stabilized. Oh, it's still going up. We're still getting more green check marks. All right. So on the amendment, we currently, out of 51 people in the room, of which 48 are voting members, we have 36 yes and 1 no. So the amendment passes and will be included in the under consideration of this main resolution. We have had 2 speakers in favor, 2 speakers against. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to clear reactions and we'll vote on the resolution itself. If you wish for us to pass this resolution, and why it does not explicitly say that we will pass it on to the State Democratic Central Committee, that is the intent of all of the resolutions, as I stated at the beginning of the meeting. These are all passed by the delegation, and that is why they are in this specific format. So if you wish for us to pass this resolution and send it to the State Democratic Central Committee in September, please indicate your desire with a green check mark. If you do not wish for us to pass this resolution and send it to the state party, please indicate that with a red X. All right, we have 50 people in the room, 47 of which are voting members. Votes seem to have stabilized. Oh, as soon as I say that, we get a quick change. Of 47 people present and voting, we have 34 yes, 2 no. The resolution passes, and we will be forwarding this on to the Washington State Democratic Central Committee for consideration in September. Thank you, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and clear feedback now. All right. The next resolution on the role of law enforcement in Washington State. Whereas law enforcement officials and state agencies more broadly have no legal duty to protect individuals from illegal harm, such as murder, as decided in court cases like Warren v. District of Columbia, DC Court of Appeals, D. Shaney v. Winnebago County, and the town of Castle Rock versus Gonzalez. Whereas it is a common and pervasive misconception that there is, in fact, such a duty, disingenuously reinforced by law enforcement agencies doing such things as emblazoning the phrase protect and serve on their squad cars, and whereas it should actually be the duty of Washington state law enforcement officials, especially and the state more broadly, example, Child Protective Services, see DeShaney, to protect Washington residents, regardless of documentary status, that is, any individual person physically present in the state of Washington, from illegal harm such as murder. Therefore, be it resolved that the 46 District Democrats call for a change in Washington state law to make it the official and legal duty of law enforcement officials, especially, and the state more broadly, example, Child Protective Services, to actually protect individual persons in Washington state from illegal harm such as murder, and to endeavor to prevent such harm from befalling individual persons by taking proactive steps such as taking seriously all allegations of stalking and harassment, which often precede crimes such as murder, especially such allegations involving a weapon, and to that end will follow up with both victim and suspect repeatedly at regular intervals until the situation is resolved justly, equitably, and peacefully, if at all possible, with all defiance given to the victim taking their claims seriously. And therefore be it further resolved that the 46th District Democrats urge that the state and all relevant polites in Washington state and all governed bodies therein, city, county, etc., make funding for their law enforcement agencies contingent on this duty becoming illegal and official. And therefore be it finally resolved that the 46th District Democrats urge all law enforcement agencies in the state, being the state, city, and county agencies, etc., provide full, mandatory, rigorous, earnest, and serious training to this end, understanding that it is a radical and fundamental shift in the role of law enforcement from an institution that only protects property to that of an institution that protects the lives of individual persons, parents, individual humans, not corporations, and parents, first and foremost, above all other duties and responsibilities. That was a mouthful. Sorry, I read that very quickly. I did not mean to disparage the resolution itself. The mouthful was me being winded from reading so quickly. All right. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Any discussion? Any discussion? All right. Hearing no discussion, I think we can go right to a vote. If you would like for us to pass this resolution and forward it to the Washington State Democratic Central Committee for consideration in September, please indicate your desire with a green check mark. If not, please use a red X. Right. 50 people in the Zoom. 47 voting members. We currently have 33 green check marks, 33 yes, 1 no. The resolution passes. I'm going to go ahead and clear all feedback. The next resolution is a resolution regarding sanctions and taxes directed towards United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE property, and personnel. I'm just going to ask, do people wish for me to continue to read these aloud? Does anyone wish for me to continue to read them aloud? I did get a thumbs up. Okay. All right. We're going to continue to do it. Okay, so whereas abuses of power in conjunction with a murder conducted by ICE agents in Minneapolis demonstrates ICE no longer holds the public trust by failing to act in the best interests of United States residents they ostensibly serve. Whereas the federal government has ignored or enabled ICE to continue these violent authoritarian abuses of power against residents of the United States by failing to act ingenuously or hold them accountable, whereas legislators should demonstrate courage by taking a more forceful stance on the presence of ICE in the face of these intimidation tactics to preserve both the welfare and well-being of Washington residents. Therefore, be it resolved that the 46th District Democrats insist that legislators must mandate no entity, including county or municipal governments, provide services enabling ICE facilities to continue operating, including provision of electricity, water, waste disposal, roads, or other transportation. Be it further resolved that the 46th District Democrats assert that legislators must mandate repossessing any Washington property owned by or being utilized for conducting work on behalf of ICE within 14 days of passage by law enforcement officers or the National Guard. And be it further resolved that the 46th District Democrats direct legislators to ensure Washington prioritizes the aiding and assisting the criminal or civil prosecution of employees, contractors, or agents acting on behalf of the Department of Homeland Security found to be in violation of federal or state law, either now or upon the beginning of a subsequent United States presidential administration. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Any discussion? All right, I see a hand up from Aiden Carroll. Aiden.
I have a suggested addition. Would it be okay to have a fourth resolved, or should I add it to one of the existing ones? Sometimes the number of those is limited.
A fourth resolved would make this ineligible for submission to the state party. You could make a motion to amend one of the existing ones.
Okay, I think that's what I want to
Okay.
suggest.
Okay.
After the words National Guard, to say
Right here in the set at
yeah,
the end of the second, therefore. Okay.
and that unless and until legislators mandate this, that state and local police should not be sent to assist federal agents in opposing protests against federal against these federal agents and facilities.
Please read that to see if I captured it correctly.
You captured what I said correctly. If anybody sees a clear grammar issue in the way I said it, they can please let us know. But I think it's scanning properly.
Okay. If you wish to, we have some hands up. So if you wish to second this, could you please indicate so with a green check mark? So that I can get to the remaining hands. Cody Zelensky, seconds. Okay. So we do have this amendment on the floor right now. Would anybody like to speak towards this amendment? And I'll let you, if you would like to speak towards the amendment first, Aiden, you may do so. Otherwise, I'll just start calling on folks.
One of the most important principles that I want to push forward in the local party is that there are things local government and nonprofits are unable or unwilling to do, and that they need to allow protesters to make those sacrifices for them and to not go after them in doing so. We've seen examples across the country of state and local police making the difference in stopping protests against ICE from being effective when they call for backup from police forces governed by Democrats in Illinois and Minnesota and New York and New Jersey, and we need that to change. And I think I'm writing this amendment in a pretty tame way by saying that only until the state takes these actions and I'm not even mentioning that like the state shouldn't prosecute protesters.
Okay. Thank you, Aiden. Would anyone else like to speak for or against this amendment? Judy, you had your hand up. Okay.
No, I wanted to speak on something else.
Okay. You can go ahead and put your hand back up and I'll call you when we get back to you again. Richard?
Yeah, well, my question really is just more procedural.
Yes.
Just trying to understand as we're trying to convince the state legislators, state Democrats to go ahead and support this in general, in other districts, or why do we not say approach our local representatives and say, hey, you know, this is what we want you to do for us to bring a bill like this to the legislature. So I'm just trying to understand the kind of because I'm not familiar with the process you're trying to do, and so I'm trying to understand the pathway you're taking this. Thank you.
Yeah, so all the resolutions this evening, the delegation wanted to bring forward at the state convention. We had 8. We were only allowed to send forward 2, so these are the remaining ones. And so the goal is that we would pass this, and then of course our representatives in the legislature would know our will, but then we would send this to the state party for the state Democratic Central Committee. We would send it to them for their consideration of passage. So then all of the state Democrats could then know the state Democratic Central Committee's thoughts and feelings on this. So because this couldn't go through the convention process because we were only allowed to submit 2 resolutions, we have to pass it as an LD in order to send it to the state party. So that's the process. Does that answer your questions? Okay, got a thumbs up. All right. Tara Gallagher.
Yeah, real quick to the previous question, we probably should, if we have space, which we don't in this one, but it does help to put in, we resolved to send this to our Democratic legislators. I actually came in to speak against the amendment. I fully agree with the sentiment, but because the rest of that resolved addresses the legislature, which does not actually have any say in sending police, I'm afraid that this actually will make it conceivably out of order at state. So I would just as soon leave it alone and not give them an opportunity to rule it out of order.
Okay, thank you, Tara. And then Judy, I'm gonna unmute you. You can keep your hand up if this was for something. Oh, you're unmuted. You said you wanted to speak to something else earlier. Is that still the case? And if it is, that's just
I just had a question.
Yeah.
About the part where it says where we're not going to provide any facilities to ICE, whether that includes detention facilities, because ICE takes people there. And I don't think that's intended. I just wanted to make that clear.
My assumption would be that facilities means all facilities, including detention facilities, but or by us not specifying that detention facilities are not part of this, that they would automatically be included in it as the language is written.
Okay, well, it just doesn't make any sense if people are in the detention facilities that they can't get electricity or water.
That is a good point. And so you could make an amendment if you would like to, but that is a very fair point.
Well, I'm not going to amend it. I'm just
Okay.
saying that it doesn't make sense if that's the way it's done.
Okay. Thank you, Judy. Aiden?
I wasn't sure if the last question was directed at Cody or at me, but I could try to answer it.
Sure. I thought I did, which but yeah.
Well, the part of the question was about what the writer intended.
Yeah.
The detention facilities are the main facilities that I was talking about, and I think that Cody was as well. As soon as those kind of utilities would be shut off, then the facilities would no longer be operating because the private companies and the feds would no longer be able to operate them.
Yeah, that is true. They couldn't operate them because there would be human rights violations, I believe, and laws.
Also whether I should try to do something to fix the out of order issue that Tara mentioned, or if I should wait on that.
You could motion to amend it or ask Tara if she has suggested language to amend it to, because we could amend your amendment at this point.
Yeah, I was going to ask Tara whether it might fix it to put the two things that were mandating legislature into one resolved, and to put the thing that I'm adding to be the second resolved. Or if it would work to just combine the first two resolved, then we could add the for this to our legislators as the third one that the Tara was hoping for. But it depends on whether that would. I don't know anything about what isn't in order under the state rules and what could be alleged to be out of order. So.
Tara, do you have any suggestions?
Well, I mean, it's combining two of them and then making this separate. Would help. It's going to make for one really long resolved. Does someone want to work on that and we move on to another one?
We could, yes, we could do that. So someone could, if that was the case, someone could motion to table this until we hear from the other, and move on and move this to the end of the currently considered resolutions. So somebody could work on that if they wanted to. So that is an option, but currently what is on the table is this amendment. Cody, you have a hand up.
There we go. Yeah, I'll motion to table it just because we have a limited amount of time to get through everything, and we can discuss it later.
Okay. Is there a second to tabling this until the other resolutions are considered? I see a yes from Tara Gallagher. Are there any objections to us tabling this until the other resolutions are considered? Any objections? Any objections? Okay, hearing none, we'll come back to this one at the end. Just to be really clear, I'm going to move this down so I don't forget. All right. Up next, a resolution to endorse access to natural psychedelic entheogens by the Washington State Legislature. Whereas depression, severe anxiety, problematic substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, end-of-life anxiety, grief, intergenerational trauma, and other physical and mental conditions are plaguing our communities, exacerbated by the impact of COVID-19, and the use of entheogens like psilocybin has been shown to benefit the well-being of individuals and communities in addressing these afflictions via hundreds of scientific and clinical studies and within continuing traditional and communal practices. And whereas several naturally occurring entheogen compounds have completed clinical trials and a Johns Hopkins University medical study found that psilocybin, Mark, you have a hand up? Or got hot mic there.
When you're done with this, it's not pertaining to the resolution.
Okay, thank you. All right, wasn't sure if we had a interrupting motion I missed. Okay. And a Johns Hopkins University medical study found that psilocybin occasioned mystical type experiences considered to be among the 5 most meaningful experiences in a subject's life for over 75% of subjects, with continuing positive lifestyle changes reported after a 14-month follow-up. And whereas seeking to improve their well-being through the use of entheogens, individuals and communities use them in fear of arrest and prosecution, while others spend large sums of money to travel to foreign countries to participate in entheogen healing ceremonies, a privilege only wealthier individuals can afford, and whereas many jurisdictions have decriminalized psychedelic entheogens, including Seattle, Tacoma, Olympia, Port Townsend, Jefferson County, and King County, while Oregon and Colorado have authorized licensed service providers via popular vote to administer psychedelic entheogens to individuals 21 years of age and older, and whereas the Washington state has repeatedly brought to the floor legislation which would implement a psychedelic access program, therefore be it resolved, the state of Washington should emulate ballot initiatives in Oregon and Colorado by removing penalties for personal use and possession of entheogenic psychedelics by adults, and therefore be it further resolved, the state of Washington should implement a model allowing administration of psychedelic entheogens by licensed practitioners for the betterment of mental health and overall well-being without fear of legal repercussions or impingement on individual liberties. Tara, you have a hand up. Tara?
Yeah, I have a couple of technical amendments to this.
Okay.
First, I wanted to ask Cody on the whereases where you say the state of Washington. I mean, if that's fine, would you rather say the legislature, or do you want to keep state of Washington?
Okay, there we go. I'm not allowed to unmute myself. I mean, we can say the state legislature. I think that's perfectly fine. I applied by saying the state of Washington, but if that makes it more explicit, like I'm perfectly fine with it.
Okay, that was moved and seconded by Cody saying he was fine with it.
Okay, I've got two that would basically make these what we're telling them to do. I also would like to I mean, if we read this ballot title,
So let's can we
okay, let me finish this one, and then the third one is changing the ballot title.
Okay.
And then I'm sorry, but that sounds like we want to give shrooms to the legislature, which maybe we do, but that's probably not what we're trying to say.
Okay, so let's vote on the first amendment because this one wasn't quite seconded yet. Are there any objections to these bottom two changes shown on the screen? The pink writing under the therefore be it resolved. Are there any objections to those changes? Any objections? All right, seeing none, we're going to go ahead and accept those changes. Is there a second to Tara's motion to change the title of the resolution? Indicate so with a green check mark if you wish to second Tara's motion to change the title of the resolution. Okay, several. First one I saw was from Gary Goldbaum. So Gary is seconded. Any discussion on the title change? Any discussion? Any discussion? All right, seeing none, are there any objections to the title change? Any objections? Any objections? All right, the title has been changed. And this is where we are currently at. Okay, is there any discussion on the resolution itself? Any discussion on the resolution itself? Any discussion? All right, seeing none, let's go ahead and go to a vote. If you would like us to pass this resolution and send it on to the Washington State Democratic Central Committee. Please indicate that desire with a green check mark. If not, use a red X. We have 45 people in the room. Of which 43 are voting members. We have 31 yeses. So the resolution passes. Thank you, everybody. Mark, you have a hand up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd just like to take a moment, if I may, to put the corrected vote totals for the endorsement vote on the ballot measure on parental review of education materials in the chat.
Yes, that would be great.
There's not a big change, but the corrected totals, thank you, Nathan Antonio, are yes 2, no 39, and no endorsement 3.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Auerbach. All right. Up next, resolution on the responsibility of Washington State to protect its citizens from the federal government, whereas the federal government of the United States of America has shown itself inimical to the values espoused by both the United States Constitution and the Constitution of the state of Washington, such as life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, demonstrated by recent extrajudicial killings of 4 American citizens by federal agents, namely Ruben Ray Martinez, Keith Porter, Renee Good, and Alex Peretti. And whereas Article 1, Section 3 of the Washington State Declaration declares that no person shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, and in Article 1, Section 7 states that no person should be disturbed in his private affairs or his home invaded without authority of law, and in Article 1, Section 8 states no law granting irrevocably any privilege, franchise, or immunity shall be passed by the legislature. And whereas the federal government of the United States have proven both by its stated intent and recent physical actions in states such as Texas, California, and Minnesota that if it allowed, it will violate both the United States Constitution and the Constitution of the state of Washington by depriving individual persons of life, liberty, and property without due process of law, and disturb persons in their private affairs and invade their homes without authority of law, as it is done in Texas and California and Minnesota. Therefore, be it resolved that the 46th District Democrats call for a radical, forceful, and indestructible defense of the residents of Washington State against the federal government of the United States, regardless of documentary status. That is, all individual persons physically present in the state of Washington, ratified into law with all possible haste, to be backed by the full force and support of the state and its agencies, including the officer of the governor, the Washington State National Guard, parents, insofar as it is under the purview of the office of the governor, in parents, the Washington State Guard, in parents, being separated from the Washington State National Guard, in parents, the Washington State Attorney General's Office, the Washington State Supreme Court, the Washington State Legislature, the Washington State Patrol and its Criminal Investigations Division, and all county sheriff's departments and all city police departments. And therefore, be it further resolved, the 46th District Democrats urge that this defense involve detaining federal agents that break Washington state laws, such as by committing murder or any extrajudicial killing of a person in Washington state, or any illegal kidnapping of a person in Washington state, or any illegal invasion of a home in Washington state, and investigating, trying, prosecuting, and if found guilty, punishing said agents with the full rigor and force of the law, with all possible haste and expediency, and that if there be any doubt as to the actions of the federal agent, that the default assumption will be, given the federal government's record of conduct, that the federal agent has indeed broken the law and will be treated with all suspicion based on reasonable evidence such as eyewitness testimony and video evidence. And therefore, be it finally resolved that the 46th District Democrats urge that the Washington State Legislature should pass a law and that it be signed into law by the governor as soon as possible without delay. Tara.
Sorry, that was to ask
interrupting
for
motion.
sorry, no, that was to ask for dispensing with the reading. Haha, too late.
Oh, okay. I apologize. Yeah, once I got rolling. I have a hand up from Edmund Freeman. Edmund.
Yes, hello. Is this calling for Seattle police to shoot ICE agents? Because that's kind of what it's sounding like to me. When it says indestructible defense, forceful defense.
I would say that if the police should not be shooting people, I mean, it does not tell police to shoot people. Police need to act within the legal bounds of the state government of, state law and federal law. Um, I don't see it as saying that, but I am not an attorney. And you have your hand up again, Edmund.
Sorry, I forgot to put it down. It's simply, but yes, to me, it sounds like it is calling for literally like forceful, indestructible defense, and I'm not sure what that means besides shooting ICE agents. So I'll take my hand down now.
Okay. Gary Goldbaum.
Thank you. I agree that this language is very strongly reminding me of language similarly used by the southern states prior to the outbreak of the Civil War, that it was up to the states to defend against the federal government. And although I'm sympathetic to the intent, I think that the language is overbearing and allows little room for negotiation on the part of the state. So I oppose us moving this forward.
Okay. All right. Take that as a speech against. I see a hand up from Cody Zelensky, followed by Tara Gallagher. Cody?
Yeah, so I would like to speak in favor. When we have ICE agents that are threatening and murdering people, I think a sufficiently deterrent response is necessary. I mean, if you can't negotiate with these people, then you need to fight back. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Okay, thank you, Cody. Tara Gallagher?
I'd also like to speak in favor if we still have a spot for that.
I believe we've had one against and one in favor so far, so yes.
So
And one inquiry.
Yeah, it is forcefully written because this is a terrible situation and we have strong opinions about it. This is not legislation. This is a resolution. It would be up to any police force that is telling their officer, that is instructing their officers. It is up to the legislature to write the legislation. We want to make the strongest case possible. We are not, unfortunately, empowered to make this actually happen. But I don't think the strong language is injudicious.
Okay, thank you, Tara. Is there any more discussion? Any more discussion? Any more discussion? All right, hearing none, we'll go to a vote. If you wish for us to pass this resolution and submit it to the Washington State Democratic Central Committee for consideration of passage at their September meeting, please indicate said desire with a green check mark. If you oppose such actions, please indicate that desire with a red X. Okay, we have 44 voting members in the room. And we have 27 yes, 2 no. The resolution passes. I'm going to go ahead and clear all feedback and recognize that there is a hand up from Kathy Sakahara. I will just say that we fixed the time for the meeting to adjourn at 9 p.m. However, as I stated at the beginning of the meeting, a member may motion to extend the meeting either through time increments or, asking that we consider other items of business still left on the agenda. Those motions would be on order. Kathy, you had your hand up.
Yes, you made the point I was going to make. It is after 9 o'clock. I believe unless somebody makes a motion to extend the time, the meeting needs to end. And so I was asking, would a motion to adjourn be in order? I'm not trying to usurp your power, but I'm trying to respect your birthday. So that's a question, and it looks like Nathan wants to answer it for me.
A motion to adjourn would be in order, as would a motion to extend the meeting. I just want to make sure that people are aware, and I appreciate it is my birthday. I did sign up for this duty, so I just want to be clear about that as well. Nathan, you have your hand up.
I'm going to do the very probably unpopular thing and move that we extend the scheduled end of the meeting to 9:30 to allow us to complete as much business as possible.
Okay. Is there a second for Nathan's motion? If there is a second,
I'll second. I was going to do it more limited, but I'll second that.
okay. And you could always, can you amend such a motion? Like you could try to amend it if you wanted to, Tara, now that it's been seconded.
Okay.
There is that option.
Can I amend it to say we just cover committee updates and announcements?
That is an amendment, and people could vote yes or no on that amendment. But there would have to be a second for your amendment.
Second.
Okay, it's been seconded. Is there any discussion on the amendment to just do, is it just committee updates and, sorry, well, would you like to state it again real quick, Tara? Committee updates and
Committee
convention
updates and announcements.
Committee updates and announcements. Okay. Any discussion on the amendment? Any discussion on the amendment? Any discussion on the amendment? Okay, so we're voting on whether or not to extend the meeting just for committee updates and announcements. If you wish for that to be the case, indicate so with a green check mark. If not, red X. After this, we'll go back to the main motion, which is to extend until 9:30 to consider all business. So if this fails, we would then consider extending to 9:30. So currently we're just seeing if we want to extend just for committee updates and announcements. Judy, do you have a question for clarity?
What the rest of the resolutions are. I do have a question whether there's, since you keep mentioning the month of September,
Yes.
are we meeting in July
We are not meeting in July.
or August?
We would meet in August. We would, any resolutions we pass in August, we would have to send, I think, that very night before the deadline for consideration. So it is a tight window, but it is not an impossible window.
Okay.
But that is a very good question.
Okay.
Okay, so right now we have looks like we have 40 voting members in the meeting. We have 20 yes. We have 3 coffee cups, which are abstentions, which do count, but we don't have any no's, so I believe that motion passes. Is that correct, Tara?
Yeah, well, that was the amendment, but that would pass because it's members present voting.
Yep. Okay. All right. So now the main motion we're voting on is to extend the meeting for committee updates and announcements, and then we would adjourn after that is over. So I'm going to clear feedback. All right, so if you would like us to extend the meeting, and I believe if this does not pass, we simply adjourn, if I'm not mistaken. But the motion is to now extend the meeting to do committee updates and announcements. Is there any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, we'll go right to a vote. If you wish for us to extend the meeting for committee updates and announcements, please indicate your desire with a green check mark. If you wish for us to adjourn immediately, please indicate that desire with a red X. All right. We have 40 voting members in the room. We have 21 yes, 3 no. So we will go right to committee updates, PCO committee updates and survey. Doug or Mark? Because that does pass.
Hunter, I can do that. I'm sorry, I was trying to deal with the audio on my phone. Yes, PCO committee is hard at work, getting ready for the primary, and we will have materials for PCOs and other volunteers at the picnic on July 12th. That is 2 to 5 p.m. at the Northgate Community Center. I want to encourage everybody to do 2 things. One is RSVP, well, 3 things. RSVP to the picnic, make a donation because it helps fund our work and it takes us further with our GOTV mail and literature doorbelling. So RSVP to the picnic, make a contribution when you do that. And Mr. Chair, if I can have permission to put a link in the chat to our volunteer survey, I would like to do that.
Absolutely. Please do so, sir.
Okay. And this is a survey that you may... Oh, already done? No, there's a link to the picnic, but there's a second link. If you give me a second, I'll explain it. A lot of you have already filled this out, but each round of elections, we ask you to let us know, yeah, I would like to walk my precinct. I would like to walk a neighboring precinct. I'm going to need literature. This helps us to print only the literature that we need. It helps conserve, our volunteer time so that we're creating turf that's actually going to be used. And it also lets us know if you're going to come to the picnic and pick up your materials, which we encourage you to do. I think that's what I've got. And anybody has questions about the PCO program, please reach out. And anybody can volunteer to get out the vote. You don't have to be a PCO.
All right. Thank you so much, Mark. Yes, please fill out that survey. All right. We don't have any other committee updates. Any other committee updates? I think that was the big one. Any other committee updates? All right. We will go to announcements. Vice Chair Rivera.
Thank you. Yes, we are less than a month away from our annual GOTV Summer Picnic. It is our biggest community building in-person event of the year. Really looking forward to another gathering of lots of friendly faces, our electeds, candidates, local leaders. The chat, in the chat is the link to RSVP. It is free to attend, but there are levels of sponsorship, including a $25 prize picnic patron, because all the money goes to our GOTV efforts, to our lip printing, to our reaching voters. Especially we're having another concerted effort to reach apartment dwellers, people who are in neighborhoods that are harder to reach because of buildings, and also precincts that don't have a PCO. We get volunteers there too, or we do mail them the sample ballots. So all that money goes to a great cause. I'm gonna let me see if I can share. More information can be found on the front page of our website. Is that what you're seeing here? Yeah, there it is. The month away when I posted this. RSVP is Sunday, July 12th. It is from 2 to 5 p.m. in Northgate Community Center. There's good transit there, right by the light rail station. There is a small parking lot if you get there early. Hint, hint, get there early, get there on time. You might get a parking spot. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. We will have, again, electeds, candidates. We'll pick up your doorbell materials, hang out with neighbors, and we will be doing the summer picnic scavenger hunt again. We have little fun facts about our candidates and sponsors. You can go around and find them, maybe get something out of it. Anyway, we also are looking for volunteers for that event. There are lots of ways to volunteer, including bringing materials, bringing snacks, helping set up and clean up. Click on that for more information. And also here's a link for our sponsorships and the levels and what the benefits are of those. If you're not a candidate, you can put your sponsorship towards a candidate so that they can have a table to put out their lid on, or they can have more signs up, things like that. So check it out. If you have any questions, you can email info@46dems.org and I'll get back to you. Thanks a bunch.
All right. Thank you, Vice Chair Rivera. Jessica Trupin, other announcements.
Great. Thank you. I just wanted to let people know that there's some important legislation for the city of Seattle coming up in July. And this is to provide renters with greater advance notice and predictability about additional fees on top of their rent. I'm sure many of you know about junk rental fees, where landlords are able to increase your rent for use of appliances, monthly pet rent, fees to report needed repairs, landscaping fees that are unpredictable and really frustrating for renters. Mayor Wilson, her staff has surveyed renters, held focus groups, and will be bringing forth some legislation. So please look for this in July. I am supposed to say that we are going to try to bring a support resolution to the July meeting, but we are not having a July meeting. Yeah, hope you support this and hope you contact your council members. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Jessica. Kathy Sakahara.
I'll be quick. I am hosting on a week from Thursday on the 25th. I'm hosting a meet and greet for one of our endorsed candidates, Chris Roberts. I just put a link to the Facebook Evite in there. This is kind of being organized quickly. If anyone is interested in co-sponsoring, which does not cost you any money, just let me know if you're willing to help and want to be listed as a co-sponsor. Please reach out to me at membership@46dems.org. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Kathy. Any other announcements? Any other announcements? Any other announcements? All right, seeing none, and based on the previous motion, we are hereby adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate you all coming out. Before you leave, we have 2 resolutions that we didn't get through, so we will consider those at our next meeting. I know that some people had some suggested amendments to 1, so make sure to get those over to Shane McCumber, our policy committee chair, early. He can help you work through those. And that way we can, have a quick, smooth running meeting in August when we meet next. Thank you, everybody.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Hunter.
Happy birthday, Hunter.
Have a great year.
Yep, happy
Thank you.
birthday.
Happy birthday, Hunter.
Happy birthday.